Hello everybody, let me begin with a small research I did to find out what school going children aged 7 to 15 feel about their schools. 60 children going to different schools were asked 3 questions. Do you like to go to school? Why? How do you feel when you enter into the school every morning? And how do you feel when you leave school every day? Let us look at the answers to these questions. 55% of children like to go to school only to meet their friends. 31.7% of children don't like to go to school, and 13.3% of children like to go to school to learn. 28.3% of children experience happiness, curiosity and enthusiasm when they enter school every morning, and 71.7% of children experience many unpleasant emotions like fear, hatred, irritation, indifference, grumpiness, sadness, boredom and mental exhaustion when they enter into the school every day. 95% of children feel happy when they leave school at the end of the day, and 5% of the children feel sad when they leave school. Now, what do we understand from these findings? Schools are not preferred choices of children for learning, and these children experience a number of unpleasant emotions, and these emotions can influence their learning. Is it important to consider the emotional states of children at schools? The answer is an emphatic yes, because we can afford no longer to ignore the relationship between cognition and emotion. Professor Mary Helen Imordino Yang conveys the magnitude of the neurobiological relationship between cognition and emotion, and she helps us to visualize the substantial connection through a Venn-like diagram. She speaks about the emotional thought, which is the basis, which is the platform for learning, memory, decision making and creativity, both in social and non-social contexts. Now, why do children experience all these unpleasant emotions in school, and what makes them develop a distaste for anything connected to schools? There are many things, but I would like to point out 3 things which demand urgent attention. The lack of freedom. Inside the schools, children do not have the freedom to choose what they wish to learn. The curriculum is framed by the experts, and they have specific time to learn specific subjects. They have fixed hours to eat, to play, to interact with their peers and even to drink water. So obviously there is no freedom for children in the schools. And when we give freedom to the children, they learn to behave responsibly, and they know to be responsible for the consequences of their actions. Everything that is truly great and inspiring is produced by an individual who can labor in freedom, and this applies to education as well. So when we give freedom to the children, it brings along with it a number of pleasant emotions, and these can facilitate learning. The second consideration that is very important to all concerned about education is the relevance of what is being taught in schools to the real life of students. Whatever the children learn in school, be it poetry or world war or evolution or fractions, the question to be answered is, what is taught in school, is it relevant to the life of the child? How does it influence the life of the child and the lives of those around the child? The role of the teachers become very crucial to address this issue. The strategy that the teachers employ in the classrooms to connect the concept that is being taught to the real life can make a big difference in increasing the child's motivation and interest to learn. So breaking the disconnect between the curriculum and the real life is very important, because it can set in motion a number of pleasant emotions, and these can harbor learning. The third thing is the examination system, which is an additional burden to students. Standardized tests, they are actually designed to evaluate the performance of students, but they create a number of unpleasant emotions like fear, sadness, hatred and even inferiority among students. And there is a obsession with grades. When we are ranking and when we are grading children, we are actually creating a culture of competition. We just make children, we label them and we train them to compete with each other, and in doing this they reduce, their ability to work together gets reduced. And there is the obsession for grades is all pervasive in the education system. We can find schools, colleges and universities competing for an A grade in the national assessment framework. And when we focus on scores, the teachers do not have time or space for the creative potentials of the students. And similarly, these standardized tests only assess the cognitive abilities of the students, and there are many affective attributes which are equally important and which are unattended to in the classrooms. A rethinking of education is now required if we want to create a pleasant atmosphere for children in schools, giving them freedom, relating what is learned to the real life of the students, and replacing the traditional examination system with individual education plans, individual assessment plans or self-assessment procedures. All these can help to prepare the emotional states of children for learning. There are so many examples, so many attempts are being made around the world to push the limits of the traditional system to achieve all these, and we have to only follow this. I would like to recall a part of a story that I read many years ago. God appears before a child and asks, "What do you want? I can grant anything you wish." The child thinks for a second and answers, "I want only this. There should not be a single school in the whole world." Many of our children today may also have the same wish. If we could make our children feel sad when a holiday is being announced, if we could make our children look forward to Monday mornings with happiness, if we could make Mr. Happiness and Mr. Learning meet in our schools, then we can confidently say that the future of education in schools is promising. Let us work to schedule this meeting between Mr. Happiness and Mr. Learning. Thank you.